Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Tally. The mission and the goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Tuesdays with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. And now your host, Brian Tally.
Welcome back to Tuesdays with Tally Podcast, where we add real-life value to the lives of everyday people. Be sure to follow us on social media and on Spotify. The online information and handles are all located on the scrolling ticker at the bottom portion of your screen. Folks, today we celebrate another day in business, the 110th day of Tuesdays with Tally. And we are now on episode 77, the year I was born. Wow, I'm getting old and gray. I want to talk about a book that I recently came across that is authored by Marine veteran and who's also a Scout sniper, Chris Whittemore, titled Terror to Triumph. Go get that book today, folks. It's available everywhere books are sold online. This is a true story about the Battle of Ramadi, seen through the lenses of a Marine Scout sniper. You will not be disappointed, folks. This book is amazing. Chris has sent me a copy. I've already looked at it. I've perused the book. It's amazing. And it will put you there, the sights, the smells, the sounds of war and what this warfighter went through. On the soil in Iraq. Again, the Battle of Ramadi. Folks, great Christmas present here. You would be supporting a great American and a great U.S. Marine veteran. Terror to Triumph by Chris Whittemore. That's Terror to Triumph by Chris Whittemore. Get your book today. Folks, we have a very special guest joining us on today's program. Scotty Hasting is a U.S. Army combat veteran, actor, and Nashville singer-songwriter. Scotty was shot 10 times while on patrol in Afghanistan in 2011. Now, let's just figure this. 10 times. Not one, not two, not three, not five, not seven, but 10 times, guys. 10 times while on patrol in Afghanistan in 2011. Scotty is the epitome of perseverance and resilience, and he has demonstrated publicly that you can make a comeback in the face of adversity. Scotty uses the guitar and music as a way to help him cope with the struggles of the wounds of war. Scotty has written with multiple known country artists, veteran singer-songwriters, and up-and-comers in the country music world. He loves to write songs and also enjoys playing live at local bars throughout Nashville, Tennessee, and surrounding areas. Scotty's shows are a lot of fun. He's a great entertainer, and he loves to put on a show and gets the crowd involved in a way that is fun for everybody, including Scotty himself. With that, we are honored to be joined by a Purple Heart recipient and country music star, Scotty Hasting. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Thank you for that introduction. That was great.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, you deserve the best, and I hope that I was even.
No, that was great. That was great. I appreciate it.
I mean, you're just an amazing. Yeah, you're an amazing.
By the way, that book, Terror to Triumph, is amazing.
It's
great.
You've read the book by Chris.
I have. It's great. I mean, it's fantastic.
Chris Whittemore is a good guy.
Absolutely.
He's a really good guy. And, that Battle of Ramadi was insane. I've actually seen a couple of books, Echo and Ramadi, Terror to Triumph, just seeing this all based through the lenses of real live people and, with real life heartbeats and real bullets and
absolutely
the fog of war and casualties and the sights, the smells, the sirens, the explosions, and it makes it real,
100%.
Yeah.
It's so much better when you read it from, someone who's actually been there and you really get to, hear the media and stuff from people who, haven't been there. You can only get so much, but whenever you actually hear, someone's story who's been in country in the fight. I mean, it'll put you in a whole nother place. It's incredible.
Absolutely. I just got a book from a friend of mine that I'm going to be interviewing on Friday about World War II. And the book is like that thick. It's like an encyclopedia, and it's got letters from home and all that in there.
No, that's
from
amazing.
The late 30s and the 40s of America's finest generation. It's just,
I love that. I love that.
It'll definitely put goosebumps on you.
Absolutely. I love that.
For sure. So I'm not going to lie, folks. Look, I'm a little starstruck here. It's not every day you have the opportunity to sit down with your favorite singer. Scotty's my favorite singer right now. And my favorite song is The Stories That They Tell. That is his big hit, right? The Stories That They Tell.
Yeah.
Go to Spotify, go to Google, go to wherever you listen to your music and type in The Stories That They Tell by Scotty Hasting and give it one listen. You'll be hooked like I am every day on my walks. I probably listen to it 10 times over and over again. I'm very OCD. I will play a song out in a month and then I'm on to the next. And then I'm on to the next.
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Everybody needs to go check out The Stories That They Tell, folks. It is a truly remarkable song. And listen to the words. Listen to this podcast first, and then go back and listen to that song and listen to the words, and you will completely understand the definition of that song. So listen, Scott, let's get started, man. Where are you from? Where are you from? And what was life like growing up as a kid?
Life was good, man. I'm originally from Northern Kentucky, right outside of Cincinnati. Life was great, man. I got a brother, technically two brothers because I had a stepbrother, but man, life was good. I mean, of course, everyone struggles, but we made it through, and now we're all doing great, man. So I can't really complain. I did great. My family's always been incredibly supportive. My mom, my dad, they've always been there, always been great. So yeah, can't complain.
What type of hobbies did you have as a kid?
I played sports, man. I was a sports guy through and through. Baseball, basketball, football. I even wrestled for a year, but only to help with other sports. But baseball was my thing, man. I played semi-pro baseball for a while. And then I joined the military instead. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of commonalities there. My family's a big sports family. I've got kids that all play, from baseball to wrestling to football.
Absolutely.
The same as you. And I can understand the conditioning phase of, hey, I had to wrestle to keep me going with football and baseball.
Absolutely. What's funny is like I never wanted anything to do with wrestling. And then the wrestling coach was like, hey, listen, like wrestling will help you not only with football, but it can help you with baseball as well. And I was like, well, since it's off season, like, let me give it a shot. And then I never went back because I was like, dude, this is hard. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. But yeah. So
wrestling
was for me was just to kind of keep me, in that loop of wanting to continue to get better in baseball.
Yeah. So, it's all discipline. It's all discipline. So if you can hone in on your discipline on a specific sport, it's only going to carry over to the next. So, like they say, if you're a linebacker, being a wrestler is great because it's almost like the same, form and technique. And again, eyes,
Absolutely.
So it does create super athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it helps a lot. I mean, it helped a lot with my lower body and helping build power in my legs and hips. With wrestling, especially certain types of wrestling, you learn how to utilize your hips more with throwing people and stuff like that. So you learn more as far as like utilizing your core and your hips more than you would in baseball by itself. So it was valuable to do it, but it was way too much work for me. So I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, cutting weight and not eating. And
I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't put my body through this every year. I don't know how, like, my hat is off to wrestlers. Like, I don't know how you made it through high school and college if you wrestled in college. Like, there's just such a physical toll on your body trying to cut weight, trying to make weight, and then trying to gain it back. And it's just like, I just couldn't do it.
I have a great friend that I had on this podcast. He's one of my best buddies. Adam Wheeler took the bronze in the Olympics.
That's amazing.
In China about, let's say about 10 years ago, probably.
Nah.
And that guy's a super athlete,
It's incredible.
It is. I mean, to be part of Team USA, where they only take a couple people, from
absolutely,
and to wrestle, the world's best, and it's
amazing,
insane. Oh, it is, absolutely. So you get out of high school, you play some semi-pro baseball, and you would ultimately end up joining the Army. What did that look like, and why did you put baseball aside, and what made you want to say, you know what, I'm going to go serve, and this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to join the Army, and then explain the rest. Yeah,
so I'd always had kind of on my heart that I wanted to do something different, something bigger than myself. It just felt like there was a call to serve, so to speak. And then a lot of it had to do with the fact that I wasn't making any money playing baseball. So, and at the time I had a little family that I had to support, and baseball wasn't doing it. So I needed something else. I had always had, like I said, I've always had this call to serve, and I was like, you know what, like, it's time. I had the support of, the family, and they were like, listen, like, if this is what you want to do, then do it. And I did. Except for my dad. I didn't tell my dad anything about it until I had already signed up and was like at the MEP Center and already signed. And then I was like, hey, Dad, this is what I'm doing. And he was like, whatever I need to do, let me know. I'll get you out of it. And I was like, Dad, no, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this isn't, no one put a gun to my head. Like, this is my decision. This is what I want to do. So, but yeah, I mean, it was, it was, I think it was just kind of beyond me. It was something that I felt like I needed to do. And I did it. I wouldn't change it.
So like you said, you were called to serve, and you answered that call to service, and you would get sent off to boot camp. What year did you actually join the Army?
I joined in 2010, and I was when I got the basic training, I was the old man. It's crazy because like you go to basic training and you see all these like younger kids. Like I think I was 21-ish when I joined, and I mean everyone else was like 18, 19, and 21. Like I wasn't old, but I felt old when I was in there. The best part about basic training is though, like, if you ever felt bad about yourself, go to basic training, because you're going to see some idiots. Like, I mean, I've never seen like the smartest people I've ever met, and then some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life, where you're just like looking at them and you're like, dude, how did you make it this far? Like, how are you still alive? I don't get it. Like,
trust me, dude, we had some recruits. Yeah, we have some recruits I'll never forget. It's like, oh man, I mean, completely. I mean, like,
absolutely, like just complete idiots that are just way out in the clouds somewhere else, and you're just like, what? Like, how does that even make sense?
Yeah, dumber than a box of rocks, and total ASVAB waivers, and it's like it's like you can't even do the simplest of things.
How absolutely,
be a Marine or a soldier or whatever it is, but. Those guys were fun, although they did make our lives hell.
Oh my God,
for real. Cut and sit home.
Yep.
But yeah, because
they were funny to laugh at, though. God, they were funny to laugh at.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the time, no, because you're getting thrashed, because of what they're doing. But yeah, you look back at it.
Oh yeah, and you're like, Jesus, man, I can't believe that this kid was even there. Yeah.
So you weren't in very long. You weren't in very long before you found yourself on the mean streets of Afghanistan while you were out on patrol one day in 2011. You were shot 10 times and wounded in action. Can you walk our listeners through that day and kind of describe to us what happened?
Yeah, so we were on patrol. We were going to a suspected bomb maker's house to kind of, talk to him and try to figure out what the heck's going on, type deal. And by that I mean we were going to snatch him up and send him to someone else. And so we decided we were going to head in this direction. Started walking. And it's crazy. So we started walking in one direction, and we stopped because we were looking at the map, trying to figure out which direction we wanted to go, whether we wanted to go this way or that way. Because in Afghanistan, you want to make your decisions and your avenues of movement kind of like what people wouldn't expect. Like you want to be, you don't want people to know what you're going to do, especially the enemy. Like you don't, because say you're going to go north and you're just going to walk in a straight line. Eventually the enemy is going to pick up the fact that you're just going to go this way and you're going to keep going that way. So they'll set up an ambush. So in Afghanistan, and I think even in other wars like in Iraq and stuff like that, like you wanted your movements to be as erratic as possible. You didn't want them to have any idea of what you were doing. So we would always stop every once in a while and kind of figure out if we wanted to, we're going north, but do we want to go east first and then cut back around, or do we want to go this way? Because so we stopped, and where we stopped at was kind of near a wadi, which is kind of like a creek. We call it a wadi over there. And so we stopped near it. There was this hut and this older guy that was maybe 100 yards from us. And, he did the normal Afghanistan thing where, they just kind of walk around and try to figure out what the heck we're doing there. So he was watching us, and I noticed it. Everyone noticed it, that this guy was just, he would come back behind his hut because we were behind his hut. So the front door was on the opposite side. So there was really no reason for him to be back there. So he kept walking around, and then he would come back around, and he just tried to figure out what we were doing, where we were going. So we decided to go basically to the right side of his hut, right next to his hut. So we went to the right side of his hut, and then we decided to take a left down this little, it was the size of a sidewalk, but they drive full vans and like cargo trucks down these things, which is incredible. Afghanistan has some of the greatest or some of the worst drivers I've ever seen in my life. Like I haven't figured out which one yet, because they're either crazy or they're just incredible drivers. Because they'll drive these giant cargo trucks down these roads that are the size of sidewalks. Like, it's like, dude, like if I did this, I would have wrecked at least 4 times and I'd be stuck. But yeah, so we were walking down this little walkway / roadway. And as soon as we got in front of this guy's hut to the front door, which whenever you get close to the front door of someone's hut, of course, they're going to be standing there. They're going to be trying to figure out, like, are they coming in here, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to be right there. They want to know what the heck you're doing. So he disappeared. I had no idea where this guy was. Like, the fact that he wasn't anywhere near us whenever we got close to his living space is weird. And I was like, hey, like, that the old guy just disappeared. Be careful. Like, get ready for something's going to happen. And it literally 30 seconds after I said that, I saw this guy to my right, and he looked just like a normal person trying to figure out what the heck we were doing. So I went back to my Valen operation, because I was a Valen operator, which is the metal detector that we use to, detect IEDs and stuff like that. So I went back to doing that job, and I saw this guy who was over to the right. He was maybe 20 yards from us. He was really, really close. I mean, really close. But he was behind like this wall, kind of. So I went back to my Valen operations. I saw him move really quick out of the corner of my eye. So I immediately like squared up to him, because normally they don't move fast, right? Like, life over there is really slow and methodical. If they're going to move quick, something's about to happen. So I saw him move real quick. I dropped my Valen. I squared up to him. And as soon as I squared up to him, he had already pulled a rifle from behind his back and started spraying. He hit me basically going up my left side, going across my chest to my right shoulder. Once in the thigh, which was a through and through, 4 times in the hip, which took out a chunk of my hip, and then 5 times in my shoulder, right in this area. There were like two rounds in my plates that went. So I had the weapon slung across me while I was doing my Valiant operating because I needed both hands for the metal detector. So I had my weapon slung across me. By the time I turned to him, I didn't even have time to pull my weapon up. So 2 rounds had went through my weapon into my plates, through the plates, and left a nice little bruise on my chest. So yeah, technically 12 times total, but I don't count the ones that didn't go into my skin.
How many soldiers were with you out on this?
We were with, let's see, I would say we had 12 of us.
And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that you guys did return fire and
he got
an enemy KIA, out of the deal.
He got his. Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, my buddy Fant. No, unfortunately, he didn't make it back, but he put a grenade on his chest as he was running. It was amazing. So, but yeah.
Again, the stories that they tell, folks, the service, the sacrifice of American heroes like Scotty and his fellow soldiers, like he said right there. He got a guy that sacrificed everything to protect his soldiers, a grenade, you can't imagine it unless you're there in Scotty's combat boots and in this theater of operation to really, again, it's the sights, it's the smells, it's the
absolutely,
it's the sounds.
Yep. I mean, it's crazy because to this day, there's a lot of triggers for PTSD and stuff like that. For me, it was never sounds. It was never what I see. For me, it smells. Like if I smell a smell, it will take me back to Afghanistan. I mean, it's crazy. Like just something like that you just randomly, get a whiff of and you're like, oh man, like, wow, I remember that. Then it'll bring you back. It's crazy how that happens, but yeah.
What happened next after you were shot and you guys take out this enemy combatant?
Yeah.
Were you medevaced out?
Yeah, I was. I was medevaced out, went to Kandahar airfield because we were in the Kandahar province out in Afghanistan. So went to Kandahar airfield and so after I got shot, I had lost so much blood that my eyesight basically shut down. Like I couldn't see anything. It is crazy because like you hear people talk about like seeing the light, right? And I feel like that's what it was because it was all white. Like it wasn't dark. Like it was all white. It was insane. I've never felt anything. I mean, it was crazy. To me, when people say, I see the light, that's what I feel like they're talking about. Is basically your body losing so much blood that it starts to shut down different parts of your body. And my eyesight was one of the things that went. And so got to Kandahar airfield. They immediately started working on me. They immediately hooked me up to blood, which is something that I needed very badly. And so once they hooked me up to blood and started getting it pumping through my body again, my eyesight started coming back slowly. And so when I told them that my eyesight was coming back, I heard this lady nurse and she was like, okay, like it's safe for you to go to sleep. You can go to sleep now. And I immediately passed out. I was gone right after that. I was awake from the moment that I got shot until that moment when I heard the nurse tell me that it was okay for me to go to sleep. I never passed out once. I remember every single second since getting shot.
Yeah. So you were essentially staying awake to save your life. You were fighting.
100%. Yeah. I tell people a lot, like, I talk to my family and stuff and, my girlfriend, I talked to her about, how easy it could have been to give up, how easy it would have been just to be like, well, this is it. And then just kind of just drift away. I fought my ass off to stay alive. There's a lot of people that are scared of, death, but it's incredibly peaceful. I mean, that's just it. I mean, it would have been so easy for me just to slip away. But yeah, I fought like crazy to stay awake. I kept, trying to have a conversation with my medic, the in-flight medics, basically just trying to do everything I could to not instigate shock or not try to, just try to remain calm and try to stay alert. And that's why I was so scared to, pass out or go to sleep while I was on the flight and stuff like that, because I didn't want to not wake up. So when that lady finally when the nurse finally told me, hey, it's safe for you to go to sleep now, then that's when I was like, okay, great, I'm out. So I just passed out. But yeah, I fought like hell until that moment.
You are right. A lot of people fear death. And I'm one too. We all have our worries in life. We have families and our loved ones, and the circle of life is scary for people. You had mentioned it was peaceful. That point in your life when you were seeing that light after being shot 10 times and losing so much blood, you stayed alive and you fought like hell until you were given the all clear that you could go to bed. Describe that experience. What's it like? What was that experience like to say it was peaceful? What type of comfort can you give folks out there who may have this fear of death? Describe it.
A lot of it was just, it's so hard to describe, man. It was just like this overwhelming, like, sense of just like, being super tired and wanting to go to sleep. I mean, that's what kind of what it felt like. It just, it was just like this overwhelming sense of like peace. Like everything was calm. Everything was like really, it would have been easier for me to die than it would have been to get to fight. It was, man, it's so hard to explain that feeling because there's nothing like it. It was just this, overall sense of, just calmness and peace. And it was, you're surrounded by chaos whenever you're over in Afghanistan or Iraq or deployed anywhere fighting. And to have this little bit of, peace and calmness to be able to, go out on, so to speak, that was kind of, I mean, it was crazy. I've never felt anything like that before.
Just describing this tranquility again in chaos. When you've got helicopter rotor blades going, you've got medics over you, talking to you, keeping you alive and alert, treating you for shock, even though you weren't in it, they were still treating you for shock. And they're on the radio and they're calling into the docs who are back in the, back in, the hospital, preparing them for what they're about to get, and so on and so forth. And here you are in peace. You're up. But you're living this moment of, again, tranquility when everything around you was literally falling apart. Now, I want you to describe the sacrifice, Scotty. Describe the sacrifice of serving your country.
Man, I don't know if it was a sacrifice. For me, it was a job, man. I needed a job. I needed to support a family. And that's what it was. It's so hard for me when people are like, man, thank you for your service. Like, you're a hero. It's so hard for me to really take that. The heroes are the ones that didn't come home. I mean, honestly, to me, it was a job. It was something I needed to support a family. That's kind of how I look at it. It wasn't so much, I mean, it's hard going overseas. It's hard fighting in a war. It sucks. It's not fun. And it's hard to be away from family, but at the end of the day, you know, a lot of us joined because it's a job. You know, a lot of us needed to get paid. We needed money. We needed to support a family. You know, for me, I wanted to join and I wanted to fight. To me, a soldier was someone who, you know, growing up, like watching all the movies that I watched and watching all the shows that I watched, like a soldier was someone who was over there fighting, not someone who was, you know, not someone who was in the supporting role. You know, no offense against anyone who, you know, was part of support, like back home or whatever, even when you did what you did. But to me, a soldier was someone who was out there fighting. So it wasn't, you know, like, oh, I want to do this because, you know, it was never a sacrifice to me. It was always just a job and something that I felt like I needed to do. And actually I wanted to make a career out of it. I wanted to do 20, and then get out with a nice little pension and, you know, so on and so forth. But life had, you know, other plans. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It did. Now, are you a spiritual man, Scotty?
Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely.
You know, divine intervention works in mysterious ways. I sincerely believe that God kept you here because you've got unfinished business. And again, with your great voice and your ability to sit here and tell a story of survival and to tell a story about what you went through, but additionally, now where you're at as a singer-songwriter, to put pencil to paper to express yourself on what it is like to serve. And I think that's the song of sacrifice. That's the song that you explain about in 2011. And like you said, hey, look, I'm no hero. The hero was in my unit who put a grenade on his chest to protect us. And he, you know, sacrificed himself for his fellow man.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, that right there deserves some recognition. What was his name?
We had, so two of my best friends got killed over there. We lost a lot of great people, man. So the three that really stand out is Fant. He was a good friend of mine. Jamie Jarboe, who actually got shot in the neck. He was our first casualty. And actually, when I went to Walter Reed after I got shot, he was there. So I had some time I was able to spend with him. It was great being able to see him and, you know, hang out with him when I could until he passed away, unfortunately. And then everyone's best friend, Adam Hamilton, man, he's actually who this guitar is named after. This guitar's name is Hammy. And yeah, he was everyone's best friend, man. Him and Fant and Jarboe are the three that really stand out, but we lost quite a bit of guys over there, man. But Fant and Ham were probably two of my best friends.
I'm sorry about that. And again, I sincerely appreciate your openness and your transparency and your sincerity and you being a genuine man to never forget their memories and to tell this story because I think they're important. I think Americans need to hear this.
Yeah.
And your neighbors and your colleagues and the folks that bag your groceries and our law enforcement and our school teachers and our kids, they need to hear this because it's very important. It's who we are as Americans. It's what we do to protect our country, to keep it free, to keep that Liberty Bell here at home ringing. But it comes with a cost. And a lot of the time that cost is with blood of good men and women. Again, who have sacrificed everything so we can go to Starbucks and get our $8 cup of coffee. So
I love good Starbucks coffee, though.
But I'm just saying, that's a right.
Absolutely.
And those are the freedoms that we can do that. here in the United States of America because of men like you and because of men like Fant and Jarboe and Hamilton. And rest in peace to those brave young men. Now, I want to get into the music side because you could have easily laid down, Scott.
Yeah.
You could have easily laid down. You were shot 10 times. You could have gone to a chair and put on 400 pounds and live a life of, you know what happened to me sucks. And my life now is a depressed, anxiety riddled state that I'm not really gonna, I'm just gonna live this life and I'm gonna feel sorry for myself and I'm not gonna get any better. And everybody would have said, I support that. You've been through some pretty hard times, but you didn't do that. You said, I'm going to become a singer-songwriter. And additionally, you have nerve damage all up and down your arm, but that didn't keep you down from playing the guitar, even though you live in pain and you have headaches and you have nerve damage, like I said, up and down your arm and your back. And this isn't a crutch. You have a crutch. You have a perfect reason to not do this and a perfect reason to not engage. But you chose to stand up, to get 1% better every single day, to turn your life around. What did that transition look like from when you got out of the Army and back into the civilian world to picking up a guitar and beginning to use that guitar and that coping strategy to help you heal from the wounds of
war? So before we get into the music, we have to take a step back because there was another transition that happened while I was still in the military to getting out of the military. So while I was still in the military, I found adaptive sports. Long story short, I started shooting archery. Archery to me was a way for me to escape, the depression, the PTSD, all that stuff. For 7 seconds while I'm holding that arrow at full draw before I release it, nothing else in the world matters, right? So eventually I get used to shooting, tournaments and going to different competitions and stuff to the point of where I end up getting recruited by the U.S. Paralympic program. And I shoot archery for the U.S. Paralympic program for 5 or 6 years. Because of the fact that while I was at Fort Riley getting ready to transition out of the military, I needed something to get my mind right. Like for me, like I'm not one of those guys who's just going to sit around and, just kind of feel sorry for myself. That's not who I am. And a lot of times when I'm just sitting around, a lot of times when a lot of veterans are just sitting around, that's when the demons knock the hardest at the door, right? Because the quiet is, sometimes a veteran's worst enemy. So for me, I needed something to clear my head. I needed something to really focus on. I needed something to get out of my own way up. So archery was it, and for like I said, for the 7 seconds, nothing in the world mattered. And I lived for those 7 seconds between each shot. So I shot within the Paralympic program for a while. COVID hits, archery shuts down completely. So we're no more archery, none of that. We're not allowed to do it. So I'm sitting around the house and here I am again, a veteran in the quiet, right? I'm sitting here stuck again. I'm starting to get in my own head. I need something to get out of my head. I'd always had a guitar sitting in the corner of my room. I've sung since I was a kid in church. I'd always had a guitar sitting in the corner of my room, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn to play this. I'm going to learn to play it. Like there's got to be a way that I can learn how to do this. Even with what I have, there's got to be a way to do it. So I jumped on YouTube and I learned G, C, E minor, and D, which are the cowboy chords, and just about every damn every country song that you can think of has G, C, E minor, and D in it in some way, shape, or form. Or you can use a capo, which kind of changes the key of the guitar, which was the next thing that I learned to use was the capo, because then I was like, dude, now that I know how to do this, I can play any song. So I started learning songs. I started learning how these different chords work within each other, and how it all goes together and stuff like that. I really deep dove into learning how to play the guitar because I needed something I needed something to escape in, right? Since archery was gone, I needed something to escape. I needed to find a way to get out of my own head, because I knew that was the only way that I was going to stay healthy. So I learned how to do it. I learned how to play guitar. I learned how to use a capo. I started learning songs that I grew up listening to. I started learning songs that, you know, I had known for years. And I was like, man, this is fantastic. Like, this is great. Like, I can play songs. Like, I want to start gigging and stuff, right? But at the time, it's COVID. So most everything is shut down, except for stuff just outside of Nashville. So I started going and playing open mics just outside of Nashville. As soon as I get on stage and as soon as I start playing songs, that feeling that I was getting, that 7 seconds of just complete nothingness, mattering, all the PTSD, the depression, everything was gone. As soon as I stepped on stage and I started singing, that feeling was back, but it was on steroids, man. I mean, it was a feeling I had searched for my entire life. So I was hooked. The moment that I got on stage and I started singing, I was hooked. I knew that this was what I needed to do. I had found my escape. I had found my reason to be up there, and you know, there was no doubt about it that this is what I wanted to do. After that day is when I really started getting into music, playing, learning as much as I could on the guitar, trying to, you know, I started writing my own songs, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's been a journey, but I mean, it's been a journey of self-discovery, which is something that, you know, people strive for. And it's been, you know, it's been incredible. It really has.
Scotty, I'm dumbfounded. I mean, I am dumbfounded here. I mean, your story is extraordinary, and I know you're a man of gratitude, and I know you're very, very proud of yourself. Hell, I'm proud of you. And COVID saved your life. I
mean, you know, a lot of people, you know, COVID was horrible. When it was at its worst, it was horrible. I lost a really good friend of mine who was part of Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, who I ride with. He's a really good friend of mine, and but COVID sucked, man. Whenever it was at its highest, it sucked. But for me, COVID worked. It was great for me, because I was able to learn more about myself than I ever thought I could. I was able to find a new purpose in my life. You know, I feel like I used COVID very well. So, you know, that time where no one was able to do anything. Yeah, I was trying my best to get better and try to, you know, become who I am now, I guess.
I mean, I just can't believe you learned how to play the guitar in a year and a half, 2 years tops, and now you're in Nashville.
I mean, that's what happens when you have a bunch of time and nothing to do but jump on YouTube and learn to play guitar, I guess.
Okay, guys, look, this is what I want to do right now. The stories that they tell by Scott Hasting, and guys, you heard it here first. This guy is going places. This guy is going to be the next up-and-coming country music star. I'm telling you right now, I have a very good ear when it comes to country music. I've been listening to it my whole entire life. From Patsy Cline to Clint Black when I was a kid, guys, I know country music. Chris Ledoux, I know it. And when I hear a song, and when it resonates with me and it sits with me and I play it over and over again, I know that it's going to be a hit. And let me play a little bit for you right now. And again, like I said, you have got to go to Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your music, and go to Scotty Hasting and look up the stories that they tell and listen to it. Let me play a little bit of it for you.
Bar, Bill opened up a box of old cigars. Sit on the step back in '69. I lost a best friend of mine. Connie said that's the place I've been, but it was 2010 Afghanistan. Raised this classic, keeps some friends, and the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah, the times and places, they may change. one thing stays the same. Stories that they tell about going through hell. If you think they wouldn't do it all over again, but you just don't know them. Memories that they own of the ones who did make it home. It sure do miss it, but they keep them all living in the stories that they tell.
Folks, that's what 2 years of discipline, determination, the will to win does.
And a little bit.
Help, faith. I mean, look,
Yeah.
you are a symbol of strength. I mean, to do
Well,
that
thank
right
you.
there, it's incredible.
Yeah, you know, I could actually we can talk about that song a little bit. There was such a that song was a journey also. Literally, I feel like most of my career here in music has been a hell of a journey. But that one probably more than ever, which has opened doors to so many other things that are happening. So I was hanging out with my mom one day, right? My mom was like, "Hey, like I'm gonna go buy a car. I would love if you come with me. You understand cars a little bit. You know more than I do." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll go." So I went with my mom to this dealership called it was Cadillac here in Nashville. The guy who was helping my mom was actually the president of Black River Entertainment's son. We started talking. I started talking about telling my story, talking about music. At the time, I had a song out called "Truck It." He listened to that, and he sent it to the man who has now become more of my mentor than anybody. His name's Doug Johnson. He wrote "Three Wooden Crosses." He wrote "Love Like Crazy" by Lee Brice. He wrote "If She's Lonely Now, She Won't Be Lonely Long." He's written some amazing songs and songs that have completely changed country music into what it is now. So I met with him, and we really hit it off. We hit it off really well. And he was like, "All right, man, like I want to write a song with you. Like I feel like the best way for me to get to know you is to really write a song with you." Because at the time, I was looking for someone to kind of someone to help me develop as an artist. Because I didn't know a whole lot of anything about music. And, this is just something that I kind of jumped into. I knew I liked to play, but I didn't know the industry. I didn't understand it. So this guy was like, "You know what? I want to write a song with you." So I was like, "Perfect." So I left and came back another day, and he was like, "All right, what song do we want to write?" And I was like, "You know what? There's a title and an idea that has been on my mind for years. Something I've wanted to talk about, something I've wanted to say, and I don't know how to say it." And he's like, "Okay, well, what is it?" And I was like, "Well, I want to talk about how the stories that we tell as veterans, the reason why we tell those stories are because for those brief moments in time when we're telling the story, our friends and our loved ones and our brothers and our sisters, they're alive again." And he was like, "Let's write that song." I was like, "All right." So literally 30 minutes later, we have the stories that they tell. It was incredibly fast how easy it was amazing how easy that song was to write. It was just something. Everything came out. Everything came from the heart. He helped a lot because it was something I wanted to talk about, but I didn't know how to say it. Right. And a lot of times us as veterans, we're struggling or, we're having these issues or we're having these ideas and we don't know how to combat them because we don't know how to say certain things. I had no idea what I wanted to say, how to say it. I knew the idea that I had, and he was like, "Perfect. I know how we do this. Like, let's do it." And ever since that moment, Doug has become probably one of my best friends. He's a mentor of mine. He is, he's helping me develop as an artist. We're working on a lot more songs that are amazing. And we're actually have a song that he wrote called Trace Atkins did it, and it's called Till the Last Shot's Fired.
Wow.
And it's a song that he wrote, and it was for a long time. It was the Wounded Warrior Project. It was their song on their commercials and stuff. But we're re-recording it, and so we already did it. But also we're going to have Jamie Johnson, who's another country artist. He's going to be on it. And we're working with some other country artists. I don't want to spoil too much, but working with some other country artists. It's going to be quite a bit of country artists and myself on this song. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that song opened so many doors for me. Not only with, Black River Entertainment and Doug and, what I'm able to do now, like this podcast, but also with, going out and being able to play at veterans, events and stuff, which is something I never thought I'd be able to do, but it's hands down the best part of what I'm doing. Being able to be there at these veteran events and play songs and let people see that, even with my injury and even with, what I deal with on a daily basis, if I can get up here and do this, there is no reason why you can't do whatever you have. Whatever you're dreaming about, I promise you can do it. Because if I can get up here and do this, I guarantee you can at least try.
You are a symbol of hope. You are a symbol of strength. And when veterans find that dark place, when they're self-isolating, alone in their room and living a life, like I said, of a riddled body full of anxiety and depression, a song like The Stories That They Tell can really change a man or a woman to get up and to get out of that chair and to begin, like I said, to get 1% better and to start to take back their life, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, and every day at a time. It takes time. And I've had several veteran singer-songwriters on here. And they all serve that same purpose as you do. And really, at the end of the day, it's to save lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, when I tell when people ask about, why I do what I do, it's not, I enjoy it. I love what I do, but at the same time, it's not just for me. When I'm up there and I'm playing the guitar, like with the nerve damage that I have in my hand, like that, I mean, I want people to look at it and be like, well, dude, if he's up there, like what's stopping me from being able to do what I want to do?
Right.
I want it to be able to give, someone the idea and kind of implant that idea in their head of, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do this, or I can at least try, because at the end of the day, like, had I not tried to learn guitar, I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So I want to, kind of, influence people to, hey, go on and give it a shot. Like, what do you have to lose? You're not going to be able to do it. And then you're going to be right back where you are. Like, what? Give it a shot,
Yeah, I mean, you're inspiring. You are very inspiring. You really inspire the hearts and the minds of millions. And wait till you become a household name, because that's coming. Because the song, The Stories That They Tell, it sounds like something you would hear on mainstream country music. I mean, the beat, the delivery, your voice. That is an impeccable application, and that's an impeccable delivery you did there. And if you could begin to have that sort of style of your music, there is nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing that is stopping you to being on the top of those charts. Again, to be that household name, and not only a household name, but to be a country music singer that also has a story of perseverance and resilience while serving his country honorably, and going through being shot 10 times and experiencing trauma and casualties and coming home and winning. That right there is inspiring, and that is what people want to hear. They want to hear the feel-good stories. and you have a feel-good story. I mean, it's beyond feel-good. I mean, this is as if it's like a movie. COVID hits, and all of a sudden you pick up a guitar, and now you're a country music star. I mean,
it's been a lot. It sounds good, but it's been so much work.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean,
and,
yes,
a lot of people don't understand,
yeah,
how hard I've had to work to get to where I am.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a lot of bugging the hell out of people to let me play on their stage down on Broadway in Nashville. It's a lot of takes in the studio. I mean, there's so much. A lot of people, when they move here to Nashville, they don't understand how much work it is to be, just to be where I'm at. Not to mention, where Luke Combs is, and Luke Bryan. Like, these dudes are at a whole nother level, and I can't, the amount of work that I've put into this so far, as it's a lot, and a lot of people don't really understand that. They're like, oh, well, I have a good voice, I'm going to go to Nashville. Like, no, right. Like, a good voice can only get you so far, and you're gonna have to work. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. I promise you, someone in Nashville is going to be better. So you have to outwork that person. And that's really what it comes down to in Nashville, is who has the most, who's going to work the hardest for it. Because there's thousands of great musicians here in Nashville.
Right.
Thousands. Anyone could get signed at any point. They're amazing. But you have to outwork everybody else at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. And, and I wasn't discounting the hard work you put in. I'm
Absolutely.
Just saying it is a miracle that you have come so far. And just, I mean, Scotty, we're talking under 2 years here.
Yeah.
You picked up a guitar, you've written songs, you're brand new to Nashville, you are playing live, and I know there's an obsession that needs to go on here for that success to happen. And what you did is you put all of your ideas in this vehicle, and you're getting that vehicle from here to here, and right now you may be in the beginning of that ride, but I can tell you, enjoy the ride.
I try to enjoy every minute, man. I mean, this is it really is incredible what I'm doing. I mean, it's just, I'm blessed beyond words, man. I mean, I don't know, just the fact that people actually want to hear what I have to say is, it's amazing. People actually enjoy my music, like you, which is even better.
I love it.
So it's
Truck It. I like Truck It too.
It's really amazing. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, man, that song was fun, dude. I had all these love songs, and I met with my buddies, and they were like, "What song you want to write?" And I was like, "I want to write something fun, in your face, and upbeat." And they were like, "All right, we saw you pulled up in the truck. You like trucks?" And I was like, "I don't want to write a truck song." And then I ended up writing a truck song. So it's a fun song.
Incredible, folks. You heard it here from Scotty Hasting himself. Connect with him on his website, scottyhastingmusic.com. That's scottyhastingmusic.com. Check out his hit song, The Stories That They Tell. Okay, get it on Spotify or anywhere you get your music. Google that. You will love it. You will be plugging that in, and you'll be cruising down the road in your big old truck, car, whatever it may be, flying in the airport, and you will be playing that song. And if you're a veteran, you're going to get goosebumps. I can guarantee you that. And then also, don't forget, this man was shot 10 times in combat while on patrol in Afghanistan in 2011. And a lot of his music has to do with that experience right there. And folks, again, only you can save you. And if you are feeling down and if you are self-isolating, get up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get 1% better today than what you were yesterday. Scott, I just want to thank you for joining us today. On this program. We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication is truly admirable.